Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another kerfuffle. Sorry, Louis. I did warn you I was a bit loud. You weren't ready for that, were you? Welcome to another kerfuffle webinar. In fact, let's not understate this. This is a world first, a world kerfuffle first, and I am delighted to be hanging on to the coattails, as I always do, of tech giants. Here today, we have Rich from the Welsh's finest, Dezrez. How are you, Rich? You all right?
I'm very good, Simon. Very excited to talk about this today.
Lovely to see you again. And Louis, man of the moment. What three words? Thank you for joining us on the show today. I feel honoured, given what you guys are doing out there in the wider world. Very, very exciting. We are here today.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm delighted. I'm honoured to be here.
Sorry, that's it. I always forget. I should actually let the guests have a word at some stage. That's my fault. First things first. Everybody knows Simon Wales IT is built on the back of a fag packet. So as usual, I'm having broadband. So if you do see me drop in and out, it's not these guys. It's all me. So that's that said first of all. But I'm working off my phone, so hopefully it'll stick together. But guys, look, we really are excited today because we're here to talk about a world first, aren't we? You guys tying up and doing a lovely bit of integration. If I'm honest, sometimes on some of the shows, I do think, is that really going to hit the note for some people? Is it entirely relevant? Is it solving a problem? I can say hand on heart, and I've got as many faces as I've got chins. This today is absolutely perfect for property. So we're going to be talking about today here, the title is loosely, the easiest ways for agents to talk about location. Who wants to kick us off? Do you want to just give us a bit of background again? You've been on many times, Rich, to give us a proper elevator pitch, and then maybe we can have Louis explain a little bit more just about what three words.
Yeah. So thanks, Simon. Thank you for inviting us on again. And really pleased to be talking about the world first integration with a property CRM. So with what three words? So yeah, it's fantastic news we've been able to get to this point. So I remember talking about what three words about quite a good while ago when we were looking at drone technology and how drones were going to be able to deliver parcels to our back gardens. And you can't do that with postcode. You have to do that with something much more accurate. And Louis will tell us a lot more about how the whole technology works. But I remember hearing about that then and thinking, oh, that's a really cool piece of tech. And talking to the guys here at Dezrez about it. And then lo and behold, we found out one of our agents was already talking to what three words about things like how can you make sure that your board is placed in the right place rather than it being tucked behind a hedge so you can't actually see it from the road. And so he was using what three words technology himself to do that, but he was doing it outside of his CRM. So that was Andrew Hitkiss at Walton Hitkiss. And so it was fantastic to work with him to kind of work out how we were going to integrate this. And he introduced us to what three words, and the rest is history, really.
This is going to get a bit awkward now, Rich. I've just realised. So I know Andrew. I know Andrew very well. So if you're watching, Andrew, hello there. He will tell you that I sold him one of my first CRM systems. He may say I missold him, which gets even more awkward. But actually, the reason this has got awkward, of course, is you moved them away from my old company. So thank you for that, Rich. That's really nice to start the show off in a really awkward fashion. Great. Andrew's a great agent, and I'm not surprised at all to hear him having been at the forefront of technology. And before we get onto the wider thing, I think this is a really interesting point, isn't it? Is that actually innovation does not, in many cases, come from us sat in our ivory towers saying, that's a brilliant idea, let's do that. We are, it does come from the agents, often using it outside, but that's why their tech stacks look quite like a Jenga pile, don't they? They're using a bit of this here that they've added. They've got an app or two here. And what I think you've done really well here, and I think the whole exciting thing about where Dezrez is going, is you've got that ability now to actually encourage, dare I say, nurture that and have it in one place within the package. That to me is what, well, it's what everyone's looking for, but agents in particular. So, Louis, from your point of view, do you want to just give us a bit of background? Obviously, just like Rich said, I saw you, I can't remember which of the Sunday papers in, and it was just like like when I saw Just Eat or Deliveroo, I said, That's brilliant. It's brilliantly simple, but what an amazing idea that you've done. Do you want to just appraise it and just give us an overview of how it works?
Yeah, 100%. I'm very happy to, and thanks for having me, Simon and Rich. Really enjoyed the whole experience, getting to know the industry, and Andrew Hipkiss as well. So I'll share a little bit more about that later, because there's some funny bits as well. But yeah, in a nutshell, as you said, What3Words is the easiest way of communicating location, not just for estate agents, but in the world. So our mission as a company is really to change the way the world is addressed. And so there's only one filled count soap in the whole world. That's the entry to our office, and it's a 3 by 3 meter square in London. And What3Words basically allows you to refer to any place in the world very precisely. So you can get your delivery to the right door. You can tell your friends where you want to meet them. I can refer to my favorite surf spot exactly by the place where I want to get into the water. And of course, as an agent, you can make sure you meet your client at the right place, at the right property, at the right meeting place. Tell them maybe the right place to park, because that might not be exactly the property that you want to show them. And actually, so once you get into the topic of addressing, the kind of obvious issue is, of course, that the whole world is not fully addressed. And it could be a nice problem to have if you perhaps want to describe a very beautiful viewpoint to your friends, or surf spot. But it can also be quite a fundamental issue for people living in places with no formal addressing. So how do you tell someone you live, maybe more urgently, when you need to get a doctor to come to your house and you don't have a formal address? So What3Words gives every 3 by 3 meter square in the world an address of 3 unique English words, or words in whatever language you're using. But then in the addressed world, as the UK is one of the best addressed worlds in the country, you still run into a lot of issues with addressing. For one, rural addresses, you often get postcodes dropping in the middle of a field. I think that was one of the examples that Andrew gave. So a lot of the usage of What3Words we see right now happens in the rural properties. But then also addresses date back 100 years ago, 200 years ago, where postmen, they knew their way around the village. But today, obviously you're often not in a place that you know by heart. And there's lots of different issues around that, like duplicated street addresses. There's 14 different church roads in London. And if you don't know your way around London, you might find yourself in Wembley, Church Road, Wembley, and actually an hour away from where you want to go to Church Road in Croydon. And similar sounding addresses like Lawn Road. So I'm German, so for me, they sound exactly the same.
Now it makes sense, Louis. This is you're delivering us efficiency, so there had to be a German tie-up, didn't there?
No, but actually, so what you said is the innovation comes from really the people using it. And with estate agencies, up until 6 months ago, I knew nothing about the industry. And we just saw agents like Andrew using What3Words organically. So they might have seen it, like Rich, like you, in a drone piece in the news, or they might have. I think Andrew actually saw it as part of his SARA rescue missions, and thought, hey, this could be cool for my use, because I often end up not finding my viewers, not finding the right properties, and started using it. So we kind of dived into the industry. We tried to talk to as many people as possible, immersed myself a little bit with thought leaders, follow a lot of the Dezrez people on LinkedIn, and just learned a bit more about how the industry works and how to make it easier. And that's why I think the integration of the CM system is so exciting for us, because it allows not just people that are that know What3Words back to back to use it, but also anyone within the normal process of setting up a listing, setting up a viewing confirmation to use What3Words.
I think it's just amazing, because you mentioned there, actually, the UK is better than most, isn't it? With our postcodes being, they can be quite tight. Although once you go out to rural areas, it broadens out again. But the idea, did you say it was a 3 meter? Was it 3 meters?
3 by 3 meters squared. Yeah, there's about 57 trillion in the world, and each of them have a unique combination of 3 words.
Sounds like my overdraft, but we won't go there. But what I love about it is, as you said, is it was a massive challenge for us in my previous days. Sat across the field from the aisle from Richard competing. When we tried to go into other countries, you know, even the ease of use of British postcodes was not there. So, for example, Australia, they do essentially have it, but they are much wider areas to be able to do that. But you know, as you've said, Ian, what you've done is it's about an iterative improvement. To be able to have that level of detail now means, wasn't one of the examples you can even encourage people where to park their cars? I think that's a, you know, that you know, for I mean, you mentioned there, I have literally sat in an Uber driver and ended up on the wrong side of, you know, on the wrong side of town because of the similarity of there. It's everything, isn't it? It's not surprising that I'm amazed actually that it's taken us so long. Really, honestly, Rich, isn't it? I know this is about obviously celebrating, and you're quite right too. This is a world first for you guys, but actually, how have we missed these guys? Because it solves a daily challenge for many agents.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the key thing you mentioned there about parking, this just is all about efficiency and customer service, isn't it? You know, it's about telling you give someone a property address, they turn up, they spend 20 minutes trying to find somewhere to park. If you can say, oh, here's your best parking spot is just here, here's the 3 words that indicate that spot, there's always a space there. So it gives that bit of extra customer service. Also means that the prospective buyer turns up on time, you know, and so it's kind of making efficiencies and giving that great customer service. And, you know, you already said about the rural land sales, you know, you want to try and meet at a gate somewhere in a field in the middle of nowhere. You know, how do we describe that? Now you can say it's these 3 words, meet there with all the interested parties, and it's just, again, it's, you know, for an agent, that's gold, really, isn't it? Getting everyone together quickly, have the meeting, and then all go on, you know, their separate ways. But and other things like, you know, you might want to come in through a different door. You might not want the front door, the back, you know, a side door might give you a bit more of a wow factor to the property as you go in. So, or there's different side gates or whatever. So it's really, when you start thinking about it, the applications are huge for this, and we, you know, as we said, we like working with agents to solve problems and using tech to do that. It's so exciting, you know. There's, you know, I'd love to hear the next thing that agent wants to come out and ask us to do with this, because it's
and that's what we said we'd do that today as well, wouldn't we? We'd love our, you know, our viewers and people who are watching this, whether you're watching it live or watching it on Netflix Star Repeat. You know, do come back to us and obviously let us know the applications for that, because I'm sure everyone will be very interested to think. You'll think of things that we won't have done. And speaking about that, so Andrew obviously was the first agent we're aware to have been using this. What's been his feedback? What's he getting from the tie-up?
I think actually it's probably, this is, to show you this in action actually would probably be the best thing at this point, actually, because we can show, because it's not just about the link of having this in Resi, because that's great, or you can put something in Resi, but then you need to get that data to the end user. You need to be able to say, okay, here's an SMS with that information in about, you know, where to park or where the board goes to, your board company, whatever. So I can show that. Shall I show that now, and then kind of give people an understanding?
Let's just see. Is there voice over the top of it, Rich?
There is, yeah. So we'll have to be quiet for a minute.
Okay, just check that it. Did you click the with Audible?
Yeah, I
can. 3 words integration functionality. I'll show you how to add it to a property, and also we'll show it in action when I'm sending a text message to a person viewing the property. So I'll just jump into the actions button here. You can see we have what 3 words, which I can click on, and you can see I actually have the option for position of front door, position of board, and where to park. So I'll just zoom in a little bit here onto the property, and you can see here I've got position of front door, where to park, and position of board. So it's easy to change these. So if I was to click on position of board and say I wanted it here rather than actually within the garden of the property, I can then use that what 3 words location to send a text to the board company and give them exactly where I want the board to be. So it's really useful. And of course, as are things like where to park and position of front door. So when I've selected where I want the what 3 words positions to be, I'll save that, and it actually saves to custom fields within the software here. so they can be edited at any time. Now, because they've been saved as custom fields, we can utilize them in, as I say, text messages, in emails, and on the website. So I'll just very quickly book a viewing to show you exactly how it can be utilized. And that's why I've got my phone up on the right-hand side, you can see. So I'll just use myself, and I'll book that in for, obviously be useful to book it in with someone else. 9 o'clock tonight, there we are, they don't mind being late. So I'll just select appointments, confirm the appointment, and that's booked in now. Okay, so keep an eye on my phone. You'll see that I will get a text message, and it will come from whatever estate agency you're branded as. There it is, Pricist Agents. So yeah, it's just a viewing confirmation, and you can see viewing of 116 Dunbar Road has been booked for 9 p.m. today. Here's what 3 words location to the property. If I click on it, you'll see it takes me to exactly the same location we had on the property itself. And if I just jump back to messages, where do I park my car? Great, I can park it in the driveway. So yeah, it's useful. That's just one example of it being used. The other is here. If I just show you a website, so we've integrated one of our customers, the first customer to have the integration into their website. And if I just scroll down, you can see they actually have what 3 words as an option to get to it. So they've got generic addresses, which can get you to the wrong place. But to show you exactly where parking is, for example, or where the property is, you just have to click it, and it will show you exactly where it is. So it's a nice little integration. Obviously, phenomenally successful company at the moment, What 3 Words, with a huge marketing campaign, so you're bound to have heard of them. If you want to know more, just give us a ring or drop us an email, and we will can set this up for you.
There we go.
Perfect. That's absolutely perfect. So, well, congratulations on that, guys, because actually that's the really, you know, that's not a workaround bit of integration, is it? That's absolutely, I think people talk about, and I've probably been guilty about it myself in the world of tech, is just because you have an open API does not mean that that is then going to be, you know, a nice bit of integration, does it? And actually, you still need to make the effort to make sure that is deliverable if it's going to work hand in glove with application, and that's clearly been very well thought through here. I love what you've done there. So just to make sure I've got it right, because I often get things wrong, so is that standard kind of that functionality is to have the front door, the car parking place, and what was the third one? There was
board location.
Board. Those are standard features there for where you can put this What 3 Words links in there. That's great.
Yeah, but we can add to that, Simon, as well. So if an agent wants something else to come in, you know, a different location type or something in there that, you know, whatever it might be, where the bins are, for example, we could put that in as another field. So yeah.
Yeah. Dodgy neighbours. Yeah. You can put your dodgy neighbours.
Yeah.
Right. It's an absolutely beautiful integration. I think we had a chat with Ian and Ross, and they went away and started building, and they came back with this, and the whole team was looking at it like, wow, this looks, we couldn't have imagined it any better way. And I think the board even was one, I believe in early iteration, I don't know if Ian or Ross did, they shared it with the customer, and they had the idea of the boards. It was instant innovation while you were building it. You said, oh, actually, you know, what else can we use this for? And so I'm putting my boards into places, and they often end up, you know, at the wrong place or in the garden. Why don't we give them through an address?
I think, yeah, I mean, obviously, Rich and the Dezrez guys are far too honest, because being kind enough to say it was all the client's idea, I'd have been claiming that as another Whaley. Oh, I've had another epiphany. What a great idea. But I think it's great. I genuinely think that really solves it. We've actually got the man himself, man of the moment here, Mr. Hipkiss, just saying hello to you there.
Hi, Andrew.
He's clearly been very successful with this integration, because he's able to afford his own helicopter now, which you've moved up in the world, Andrew, since I missold you that software. So give us some further flavors there. So, and Andrew, of course, you're more than welcome to jump in on the comments if you want to there. What are the likes of Andrew and other clients saying about this now, Rich?
I think, you know, it's fairly early days, to be honest, but hopefully after people seeing this, they'll all be really, really excited about it and want to really use the technology, because it's there for everyone. If you want it to, any of our agents now who've got Resi can have this turned on straight off. You know, it's not something that we're charging extra for, so you know, you can get it in the system. It's and we just see it as something that can grow. You know, there's so many other opportunities to use this technology and other technologies. You know, we're integrating other bits and pieces into software all the time. But yeah, this has been really good, and I think, you know, Louis' feedback is great to hear that, you know, the guys really think that the integration is as good as they expected, or better even. It is fantastic, because you know, it just shows our technology is really working and is doing what we say we will.
That must be nice to hear, mustn't it? You know, in terms of them saying so. Louis, maybe you should make Rich just leave the room for a minute. But how have you found dealing with these guys? Obviously, you're used to dealing, as you said, and we were talking offline. You deal with companies like Amazon and everything else, and I don't think Rich would mind me saying they might be Wales's version of Amazon, but you know, you're dealing with loads and loads of powerhouse businesses out there. What was it like having these kind of discussions and integration talks?
Yeah, it was actually, Rich and I talked about this yesterday. It was amazing that you know, from the whole stage, the whole process seemed like I was dealing with a starter. It was moving super fast, trying out things, you know, getting things ready and looking that really, really quickly. But actually, Dezrez has been around for 20 years, so you know, they're no longer a startup, but seem to be operating like a startup. They can move fast, innovate. So yeah, amazing. Because as you can imagine, with bigger companies, things can move a bit slower. But no, it was incredible. I think Andrew introduced me to Ross, and from that it was a couple of weeks. Yeah, no, incredible. It was a lot of fun as well, as you can imagine.
Well, it's always nice if you can get that. I was just trying to think then when you're there, because sometimes I have to think about when I'm talking about a supplier. Well, which niche? I'm not going to say niche, because you know, obviously that's the Americans destroying the word. But what niche does this supplier fit? And sometimes it can be quite narrow. What estate agent, what real estate agent in the world shouldn't be using this? There isn't one, is there? If the basic premise of your business is location, 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 there's 3 words for you. You know, actually, that'd be interesting. Do those three words exist? You know, Louis?
I think the location. I think does exist.
I'm gonna go have a look. I'm gonna go have a look afterwards. We'll come back to that later on. But yeah, no, genuinely, it's everyone should be using this technology, shouldn't they?
Yeah, 100%. I think the obvious, and as Andrew also posts in a comment, the obvious is the postcode that leads to the middle of a field. But I, for example, live in a flat in a big block of buildings in the middle of London. And when I first got to my property, and actually every time a friend visits me, I have to get on my balcony and lead them around. And you know, that's fine, because it's my friend and I'm happy to tell them where I live. But if you come to a viewing, your first experience is trying to find the place. You might even end up at the wrong side of the building, which is kind of the delivery entrance. And that's not a nice first impression for your property. So really, I think that the applications are rural properties, they are new builds, they are large buildings with several entrances. Honestly, and you know, this is just me, you know, being talking to people in the industry for 6 months. I'm sure people like yourself who've been in for life will find many more uses as you kind of go on. So yeah, very excited.
You'd think, Louis, that I'd pick something up over 3 decades, but I've got nothing. But what I love, though, you've again hit the nail on the head. So famously, of course, new developments over here in the UK won't get postcodes for a period of time anyway. So this just straight away, hits on that point. Rich, if you're not talking to Kev Ellis at his Land and New Homes Network, that's got to be your first phone call after this, basically. Yeah. And Andrew's coming in with a couple of different comments. So you guys just have your sip of tea or whatever you're having there.
Some water.
It's so very easy to use and it's very practical, makes life so much easier. A lot of our postcodes are in the middle of a field. And he goes on to say, we also use it within the emergency services. Oh, well, he is actually part of the mountain rescue. Also, you're just an all-round superstar, aren't you there, Andrew? That'd be fascinating. Is that how he actually came to it then? Did he start using it in that? Did he use it in the emergency and then take that into the estate agency world? That's just an evolution. Evolution, Rich. Are there name you can use for an upcoming event?
Oh, yeah. Should talk about that, Simon.
Okay, great. So this is fantastic. One thing that just so that everyone's on the same page, though, so I can see how that integration has worked. How does the end consumer use this to their advantage, though? Do they go into the What 3 Words app? Are they using Dezrez?
Mm-hmm.
What's the way that they will then use those 3 words to actually, get the directions, I suppose?
So that's a really good question, and one that I've thought about a lot in the last 6 months speaking to, because obviously the place that I can see it show up is in the listing. But the listing, if you think about it, isn't always the place where you need to be very accurate, because when you look at a property, is the exact address in the listing the most important thing? Often you want to look it up, but the most important point about, or when you really want to know where to get to, is when you're on the way. So things like the integration into viewing confirmations by email, by text message, that's really the place where we see it so important that you send a customer, a client, a potential viewer, buyer, that link. And there's 2 ways they can use it. They can click on that link, and then it opens up directly in the app, which is, of course, the way that Dezrez has done it, because they care about the customer experience. You can also, of course, share just the 3 words. And then clients or viewers, users can enter that on the website in what3words.com, maybe share it later, or on the app. So we have an app that is, of course, free to use, where you can search for 3-word addresses, enter them, and then use them just as you would a normal address to navigate to wherever you want to get to. And of course, a big part of our mission at What3Words is to embed that everywhere. So we want people to think about What3Words just like a normal address. So any place where you typically expect to be able to enter an address, we want people to be able to enter What3Words address. So Addison Lee, for example, rather than putting in Queenstown Road 366 SW11, my address, I can put in Baked Became Deck, and that Addison Lee will drop me exactly at the place where I want to get to. Similarly, if you put it into if you want to drive there yourself and you're lucky to have a Mercedes-Benz, you can just speak those 3 words into Mercedes-Benz, and the Mercedes-Benz will take you to exactly that 3 meter square.
That's pretty. You haven't got any jobs going, have you? It sounds so exciting.
Well, it's immensely exciting. The range of think about addresses where addresses are being used. That's the range, or not even just addresses, but addresses and communicating location. That's the range of applications for What3Words.
I mean, all the time I'm always looking for cheesy tiebacks to the basic premise. So, the 3 words it occurs to me for what 3 words are. First of all, it's logical. Everyone can get their head, even me who sometimes struggles with it. I understand the concept. Brilliant. And then the second thing is the simplicity, how easy that then is to use. And then your final winning third part of it is it's global, isn't it? There's no justification. There's no need to change this for a different part of the market, different country, or anything else there. I think that's just that ubiquitous nature of it is really good. So you don't need Simon Wales' endorsement, but I just couldn't think it's any better. It's brilliant. Genuinely is.
I like you and I were talking yesterday about applications. We were talking about a new home on a new estate, and sometimes they don't have a postcode or even a street name, or in the early days. So you might some home buyers still refer to their homes by the 3 words that they originally found the property by. So it's kind of interesting that this kind of becoming part of everyday kind of language. In the future, it's going to be really interesting. I think that people will think about location by 3 words rather than postcodes, because it's just going to be easier.
That's how you're going to tell your friends where you're meeting, isn't it? It's where you tell people to come. So it's absolutely fantastic. So okay, you've got the world at your 3 words footsteps. How do you see it? How do you see the integration evolving in the future? Is that it kind of done now, or do you see there further applications?
I think like we said earlier, we want to solve problems for agents. So if there's things out there that this could apply to, then absolutely we'd love to hear from our agents about how we can do that. So yeah, and I think we find more and more things happening, you know, as Lou and I talk, and we talk with agents. There's all sorts of things that are coming out, and you know, Ross and Ian who've put the time into building this fantastic integration, you know, they've got ideas around how to build this out as well. So I think, you know, there will be a lot of new stuff coming on the back of this initial integration.
Well, hats off to them. Yeah, done a great job there. Yeah, I think they need a pat on the back. The techies don't always get the approval, do they? They need.
Absolutely.
Then I think exactly, which was what you said. There's obviously with this integration, you have the initial moment. Now there's discovery, the first experience, the first meeting point. But then there's a longer term engagement when someone, you know, I now live in the property, and as you said, deliveries. That's actually for us as a company been a big focus this year, now last year in 2021 now, trying to get delivery companies to be able to deliver to 3-word addresses. So even as you kind of settle in, this is now your property, you live there, is your home. It makes it easier for you to get deliveries. It makes it easier for you to get to tell your friends where to come to. Or if you're in a situation where you need to call a doctor, ambulance to your house, you can tell them, you know, maybe my back door is easier for me to get to. Maybe that's where I want to be picked up. So there's longer term. I think the bins is a good example. As a tenant starts living in a property, where do you put your bins? All these little ideas, and then just treat it like a normal address.
I'm lucky to date that I haven't had to deal with many of those emergency services, or at least probably trying to evade them. But my emergency would be, I can think of real world scenarios. I'm at Glastonbury. There's 100,000 people. Where the hell do you meet your friends, don't you? I mean, there's just another just real.
That's
obviously,
classic.
It's only once a year, but it happens all the time. Brilliant. Okay, cool. So I think that's really
We did
good.
it actually. But Glastonbury, we took a high. Glastonbury took a high-res satellite photo of all the tents, and then people could discover their 3-word address and send them to their friends. So instead of saying I'm in the orange tent just by, and of course there's 100 orange tents, you can tell them I'm at apple, banana, spoon, and they'll find you if they're in a state to find you.
You've just now, you know, the only thing you've done there, Louis, is you've given my friends the excuse for not being able to find me. Oh no, we couldn't find you all weekend, so they can't hide from me anymore. But they're not going to be very grateful about that. So, okay, that's really, really cool. So, just in terms of Louis, just on a really interesting basis, how do you create all of it? I mean, clearly. Obviously, what 3 words gives you a huge amount of combination, but have you, in my head, have you just got some digital dictionary that you're just kind of putting on top of the funnel and it churns this out?
I mean, that is not a bad way to think about it. But yeah, so we basically take the dictionary of any new language that we create. So we're now live in 47 different languages. We take the dictionary of that language. Let's stick to English for now. And we first of all remove all words that sound similar. Tree, 3, you know, it's very hard to differentiate between those two. So we remove all homophones. We then also remove all words that can be offensive, inappropriate, kind of avoid those situations. And then you're actually left with about 40,000 words, 40,000 commonly known words in the English dictionary. And by some mathematical beauty, that's enough to cover the whole world in 3 by 5 meter squares with 3 words. And 3 words are just few enough to remember, to be able to remember easily. I think if it was 4 words, it would be very difficult. With 3 words, easy to remember.
It's that classic, isn't it? The power of 3 is an often repeated way of remembering things, isn't it? So Steve Jobs famously always did his stuff in powers of 3. So that's really, really clever. Well, sorry, what I didn't realise there. So you've actually done this for different languages as well. So here was me as usual doing my English arrogance, just assuming everyone was going to use this. You've actually done this for all those. What did you say?
47 different languages. Yeah, 47, wow. Including Welsh. I'm sure you're happy to know. Yes, our goal is to be.
You haven't got a character limit, then, have you?
No. Well, I can come to that a little bit later about how long words are, because that's quite interesting bit about it as well. But No, so I mean, our goal is for it to be a global standard, so everyone in the world can use it as simply as possible, which means in their native language. So our goal is for every single person in the world to be able to use what3 words in whatever the native language is. And we have a very simple way to switch between languages. So, Mongolia, for example, was one of the first countries where the Mongolian Post Service adopted what3 words, so they can deliver to 3-word addresses. But then Lonely Planet picked up on that and said, okay, Mongolia has different alphabet. For travelers that come to Mongolia, it's often hard to find the right places, find the right addresses. So the Lonely Planet for Mongolia now has the English 3-word addresses for addresses in Mongolia. So people that speak the English alphabet or know the English alphabet can still find their way around in a foreign country.
Excellent. So I've got to ask you the question. It should be blatantly obvious to anyone who's been listening, but how are Dezrez and what3 words connecting the property world, as we said at the outset of the kind of the webinar?
Yeah, well, I think that's our mission, Simon, is to connect the property world. Obviously, this is just another one of those integrations that we're doing, on a daily basis at the moment. We've got a whole load of things that we're looking at with other providers, and bringing those into our system. So they'll be like this integration. So they're practical integrations. They're not just, as you said, workarounds. That they're absolutely built into the system, and are about giving that good customer service to our agents' customers. And we want to help our agents be the best that they can be, and that's absolutely what we're trying to do here, and what we'll continue to do. We have got our event coming up at the end of March 23rd, where we're going to be showcasing a lot of these integrations. So I don't want to spoil it with all the integrations that we're working on at the moment, but there's so many companies that we're working with right now, and that are coming to us and asking to integrate with us now, because I think they can see the value in this. Having an ecosystem of software providers working together through one CRM is really powerful, right, for agents and for the end software provider, because we've got a whole load of customers using our system, and now straight away they can all be what3 word customers, and so it's great for both parties and for the agents. So there's no downside to this, it doesn't seem at the moment. So we're just going to continue on that journey, making sure that we can deliver that improved customer service for our agents and their customers.
And you, although you said you've obviously got a huge amount on the go at the moment, you said to me the other day, look, by all means, you're hungry for more as well, aren't you? So any suppliers watching this, obviously the CRM systems are famously the gatekeepers of a lot of the information and access to the agents. Reach out to Rich and the Dezrez crew, because clearly you've seen here today how constructive that can be, and it's just a great way to team up and get out to market together, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, and it works for both parties. As I said, I think we talked about it on the last webinar that when we first started doing this, we were a bit worried that people wouldn't want to integrate with us, because you want to stay in your software that you've lovingly built, but you want to set up that piece of software in the way that you want it to be set up, and then you want to be able to get all the information in your CRM, the CRM that you use every day. So it makes sense from that point of view, and it just gives that the value of the purchase that you made in the other piece of software as well as the CRM. So I think it's it's definitely the way all industries are going now anyway. I think
you're just behind the curve, aren't you, if you don't get on board with that? I mean, I was always desperate to integrate with third parties, and again, maybe this is the time where, Louis, you cover your ears, but I would be shamelessly pushing this at every opportunity, holding on to the coattails of Louis and what3 words, and of course, because every time you've got this bit of innovation, haven't you, you get a lovely halo effect back to the clients. So just say, oh, that's really, really nice, rather than that frustration, which, let's be honest, happened for many, many years and decades with CRM systems, where why can't we integrate with this? Why can't we integrate with that? Yes, it's taking time to do and to deliver on, but this is a really exciting phase where, no longer are you doing the whole gatekeeper routine, are you? You're genuinely saying, look, we're here, we're a platform, and we're bigger than those fairly minor disagreements and grumbles that used to happen in the past.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good. Andrew came back and just said as well, you can also send clients a text message with the 3 words. Even the application explains what the 3 words are all about within the text message from the What's 3 app. So again, thank you for that real world example there. That's really helpful. So Louis, I was really keen, and you've already dealt. Unfortunately, there's a little part of me that is a bit sad that you've taken out the swear words and all the rude ones, because I was desperate that my house was going to be something horrific, and a lot of people would have said it deserves to be. But talk to us. I mean, it genuinely must have thrown up some funny combinations. I don't know whether you, as a CEO, and has sat there and just had a bit of fun picking on people, or whether it's just happened accidentally. But what have those 3-word combinations thrown up in the mix?
Yes, very good question. And maybe share my screen and show you what it looks like on the What's map, because I think I can put a bit of flavor to it. Let's try this out.
Yeah.
Application window. There we go. Now you're going to see all of us triple, and now I'm no longer there, but I can. You can hopefully see my screen and hear me. I can hear you.
Lovely.
So I've actually, my map is still at hands, face, space, which is one of the most tweeted about What's 3 words combinations relating to some government policy.
Yeah.
And space, just off the coast of Llandudno. But yeah, I thought it's a good opportunity to just.
By the way, Louis, a lot of people will say that's where a lot of their policies have gone into the ocean. But I'll try and stay apolitical for as long as I can do.
No, I mean, I started with it. I showed up my screen. So I'll first tell you a little bit how the system works, because our CEO didn't sit there and assign 3-word addresses as he saw fit. But there's an algorithm behind it. So if I, for example, go back to my postcode, which ends up actually in the middle of Battersea Park, which is obviously not where I live. Maybe wish I would live there, but I live in this big apartment building here. And actually, if I wanted to meet someone, I often tell them to just meet me up here, because it's too complicated to describe to them where I live. Except now I can tell them the front entrance to my apartment is at Baked Became Deck. And actually, oftentimes I tell delivery drivers to drop off their food at Shirts Users Junior, so they don't have to get off their bike and walk up the stairs and try to find me. Instead, I just come where exactly I know they can park easily and just hand me my food. But one thing you notice here is they are very short and commonly used English words. So you've got Shirts Users Junior, you've got Baked Became Deck in London, in a place where a lot of English speakers live. If instead, and Simon, apologies, I'm going to put kerfuffle in here and say that kerfuffle is not yet a very commonly used English word. You'll see that is actually quite in places where you probably wouldn't expect so many English speakers. So I think kerfuffle estate agents is in the Kalahari Desert.
Well, it's given me my first real estate purchase. I have to own that, don't I? I mean, that's
there we go. So one element of the system is that commonly used and short English words will be in places where people tend to speak English to make it easy to use. And the second element you probably also saw already here, when I put in kerfuffle estate agents, and say I perhaps misunderstood you a little, and I put in kerfuffle estate agent, but I know you told me you bought property in Africa. I'm not going to all suddenly end up in China just because I slightly misunderstood the address. I can directly see it's kerfuffle estate agents, and that's in the Kalahari Desert. So similar sounding addresses are shuffled as far from each other as possible.
Brilliant.
Very simple example why that could be helpful is I live in Queenstown Road 365. My sister-in-law lives in Queenstown Road 355. Mistake that's easily made, but it's actually a 15-minute walk to get from one property to the other. And you really only notice that problem or notice that you went wrong when you're in front of the door, and don't see my name on the
of course, that makes sense.
Sign, right? So we try to put similar sounding addresses as far each other from possible. So you automatically realize you made a mistake. And the system actually, if you use the app or any of our, for example, in the Mercedes, our systems, it will suggest you the address that sounds similar, but it's closer to where you're looking for.
Excellent.
So yeah, Kerfuffle Estate Agents is quite a good one, I thought, in the Kalahari Desert.
You've sorted my weekend out for me, because obviously now we're not allowed to go anywhere. I'm literally going to just be going through that left, right, and centre.
And if you speak any other languages, or Welsh, for example, you can just under here you can customize share settings and check out any of the other languages we have going on, and you can see quite a few.
Wow.
Exceptional.
Let me stop sharing so I can see you again.
That's all right. You're back on?
I'm back.
But genuinely, I swear to God, I didn't do this before, which is unusual for me. Let me just share my screen, because I thought, oh, while Louis on, let me just have a look. And I am going to show where I live. So if there are any enemies out to get me, I've exposed myself here. But let me just show you this, and I think people will like this. I've just highlighted that's my home. Degree, well, I'd like to think I like to think I'm fairly intelligent. Action, I'm not sure many of the team will agree I'm all about action, but I don't think there's anyone in the industry that would say that hasn't been done specifically for me. So as I said, I simply don't believe that you're not picking these out and making them happen. But anyway, that's brilliant. And actually, even with my goldfish memory, that is now in my head forever, isn't it? Degree, action, raves. It's just
exactly
absolutely fantastic. Okay, guys, exactly. So this is really exciting, isn't it? I mean, as I said a number of times, this is a really, really cool tie-up. We want to obviously encourage people to go to either of your landing pages. Obviously, they can find out further information about either of you. I'm sure for clients that want to get started, Rich, how do they do this? Has this just been rolled out, or is there a configuration option that needs tweaking?
Yeah, so if agents are interested in having this and they want to have some training, our current agents, they can get in contact with us through the usual channels. We've got like web chat if they want to with our support team, or get in contact through our website. There's a form you can fill on there, and for any new agents, just Dezrez.com, you can go there and get all the information that you need to get a demo with our software and be shown this in real time, and choose some of your favorite 3 words as well. So yeah, there's a real option to do that there.
Spectacular. And Louis, the same thing. We can just they can reach out to you directly, can they, and the team on the landing page?
Exactly. I mean, it's as easy to use as I've just shown for my own property, but obviously that is manual, and that's why we're so excited about the integration with Dezrez, because it takes that process into a process that agents are already used to, so it makes it a lot easier. But yeah, always happy to answer any questions, help other clients of Dezrez to sort it out. We think a lot about communicating what 3 words. So it's of course about using it, but it's also about communicating that you're using it, communicating to your clients, to your users. This is how it works. So there's a lot of materials on our website, ready-made for anyone who wants to talk about it. And yeah, just get using it and download the app, of course, because as Andrew says, you can use it without Wi-Fi. So even this is quite really important for us. I think one of the reasons why emergency services are so keen about letting people know to download it before they have an emergency, because then they already know what to do. They have the app. It works offline, so they don't need data, and they can tell someone where they are.
Yeah.
Great advice there, Louis. Thank you very much for that. That's a really key one, because actually, yeah, in rural areas, we all talk about here I am today in Manchester, and all of my broadband and everything has gone down. But actually, in some quite rural areas, as you'll know, you're lucky to get 3G or even beyond that. So, and that's normally what's so frustrating is that's the very time you're normally looking for locations as well, isn't it? So that's really, really useful. Well, I've already downloaded it, and I'll be making sure that I'm using it left, right, and centre from now on as well. So let me just again just highlight that point. Look, you can reach out to the guys directly, but of course you can go via their lovely landing page here. You can obviously click on the I'm interested point of view, and I shouldn't forget, we'll come back to that in a minute as well, Rich. Obviously, we can see a number of reviews there as well. Again, another supplier partnering with Dezrez. We always encourage suppliers out there to talk about their experience with other suppliers. James White, hi James, brilliant firm to deal with. Resi is a first-class system for any modern work from anywhere estate agency. So I won't go through them all, Rich, but obviously you're 5-star rated, as you know, on there. So one thing I would say then is you've been kind enough again to think of our Kerfuffle members. You've got a deal on the table. Do you want to just talk about what that is, Rich, or shall I?
Yeah. So essentially, what we're doing is we're giving half price setup for any new customers that come to Dezrez, so that come through the Kerfuffle page. So yeah, absolutely. You know, we're happy to do that, and yeah, it's great to see those reviews, and thank you to all the agents and other suppliers that have been putting those reviews on there. And you know, it's really key to us that we provide great customer service to our customers. So you know, we live and die by our reviews, and so we really appreciate that for the people that have done that. And yeah, the same, we're on Trustpilot and all those other things as well with really good reviews, so we're really pushing that on. But yeah, I mean, obviously for you guys and Kerfuffle, thank you so much for getting the reviews in there for us.
Well, it just seems like it's quite an exciting point. Clearly, you know, Resi was trying to do a whole new set of things, wasn't it? And a lot, I think it's fair to say it's taken a while now, but you're in that really exciting phase where you've got the really strong technical prowess, you've got things like the API and the ability to do these integrations, and now more and more clients, as we're seeing all the time, are saying, look, you know, yeah, Resi, the Dezrez guys are really delivering for us as a business, and that must be lovely to hear. I mean, I know you've been in the game a long time, but you don't get bored of it, do you?
No, absolutely not. And you know, and I think that was you know, having Resi as the product and having all this great technology is fantastic. But you know, you need to deliver behind that. You need to deliver the integrations you say you're going to deliver. You need to deliver the customer service that you say you're going to deliver. And you know, having the ability for agents now to get in contact with us through multiple channels, like, you know, web chat and through on the phone and however they want to get in contact with us is key to that. So absolutely, you know, it's part of our strategy going forward, is just to continue that side of things and keep getting those great reviews. So really pleased to see those.
Well, you know the site to do it. Look, I'm always about trying to nurture some more reviews. So, Louis, if you've got any time over there, please leave one for your.
It's already drafted. I think we need to be accepted, but yeah, it's coming, and it will be another 5 stars.
We also do video reviews as well. So, you know, I'm not putting any pressure. I think that's really, really good, guys. I think it is. I've said a number of times here, this is a really exceptional piece of work there that's delivering it, and I do encourage anybody to get in contact. So I think the next show for us has got to be, really, hasn't it, is, look, we're challenging you now to think up ideas, and of course we want to hear from those first Resi clients. Let's have a panel show with some of those clients in a few months' time, maybe, to talk about how they're using it. You've highlighted the different ways they can. Let's get some real world examples back and maybe come up with a hit list of top 10 ideas of how to use what 3 words within Resi. Yeah,
definitely. That'd be really cool.
Cool.
Amazing.
Guys, I can't believe the phone managed to keep going all the way through, but have a great day today. Good luck with this integration, and yeah, let's stay in touch.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Rich.
Bye.